gives me great pleasure to welcome Ms. Rajyalakshmi Rao here. You know, I learned a lot more about her as we were preparing for this event. The one thing that I know, I used to bump into her at the airport once in a while when she used to be a judge on the NCDRC. And I think she's the only one I know who used to spend from her own pocket to keep buying the tickets every once in a while because she insisted on shuttling between Bombay and Delhi. Everybody else tries to rip off the system, and she used to pay for it. And I think it is this passion that has led to several judgments at the time that she was there that were fairly path-breaking and really dealt a blow on behalf of us, the consumers. Everybody knows of her as being in the NCDRC, but like I said, I discovered a lot more, some of it quite interesting. But let me first start with the basics. She comes from a family of freedom fighters. Ms. Rajyalakshmi Rao has done her MBA in marketing and a master's in advertising from the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. But despite these fit for the corporate world qualifications, she's always had a heart in the consumer movement. So she's never really worked in the corporate world. And she came back to India from the US with her husband in 1980. Ever since then, she has been associated with the consumer movement. In one way or the other. She was part of the committee on the Consumer Rights Protection Act in 1987. Ms. Rajyalakshmi Rao was nominated as a member of the Government of India's National Consumer Protection Council, chaired by the late H.D. Shori, who, as you all know, is a very renowned activist and the father of Arun Shori. Here, she was part of a group which presented a paper on pricing and its effects on consumers. In 1993, she became a member of the Bombay District Consumer Grievance Redressal Forum. 3 years later, in 1996, she was appointed member of the Maharashtra State Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. In 2000, she was chosen to be a full-time member of the NCDRC, making her the only person to have worked at every level of consumer grievance redressal mechanism in India, which is the District Forum, the State Forum, and the National Forum. She's extremely passionate about consumer rights, and her philosophy is not to get caught up in legal technicalities, but to ensure that companies deliver on their promise to the people about their service and product quality. I wish we had more like her in the apex bodies and the state commissions. She's been part of a 2-member bench that has delivered several landmark judgments in cases relating to medical negligence, insurance, construction. One case that everybody may remember was in 2006 when the NCDRC ordered Cadbury, the multinational, to pay a fine to a common man who found worms in his chocolate. I think all of us remember that, right? Suddenly the Cadbury now has 3 layers of covering. It's thanks to that judgment. Rajyalakshmi Rao has authored 2 books, Consumer is King and Consumer Rights and You. Her website, www.consumerisking.in, also promotes awareness on consumer rights and allows people to register complaints online without needing a lawyer. I'm also going to take a moment to introduce Mr. Jahangir Gai, who is here with us for the second time. He's a very well-known activist. All of you read his columns in Times of India as well as Business Standard. We are lucky to have him here as the main discussant today. He has led, if Mrs. Rao has been in the judicial capacity at all 3 forums, then Mr. Gai has appeared before at all 3 forums, the district, state, and the National Commission. And in some cases, he's also been asked to be an amicus curiae. All of you here today have heard a detailed introduction, so I don't need to introduce Jahangir all over again. He's also been my colleague in the Advertising Standards Council of India. With these few words, I'm going to hand the mic over to Ms. Rao, and then we have a full 1 hour for discussion. I know all of you have a lot of questions that you've come prepared with. Please, let's welcome her with another big round of applause.
The title is Consumer is King, or is he? That's the question mark she has put on the title. Actually, when I wrote the book first time, Consumer is King, I put 2 efforts to be, like just 2 marks, saying is he really or not. My point is, enlightened consumer is a king. Confused consumer is confused and is definitely nowhere near being king. It's just that when you know your rights, you have it all in your grip. You can call the shots on anybody. in a country where a minister, Union Minister Raja, had gone to jail. Anything is possible. So we should not actually think that we are just ordinary beings. We are empowered with rights, if only we use it constructively. Not because you have the rights and you misuse it. Use it effectively and with a genuine complaint. When you do something fraud while filing complaint, believe me, it surfaces. It comes up and one can make out. But if you're a genuine consumer, believe me, the roads are all open for you. Justice is there waiting for you. I can give you this much, in writing, because the act itself is a benevolent legislation. It is not just a hard legislation. It is meant to help people, ordinary consumers of any class, It could be a somebody filed a complaint for bread with fungus, paid 40 rupees. She got some 20,000 or 40,000 for this at the end of it. I'm not saying everybody will get, but I'm just saying she pursued it. Also funny cases, one 58-year-old man filed a case saying, I'm 58, not married, want to get married, and dragged a marriage portal saying they didn't get me the bride. And filed a complaint for deficiency in service against the portal. I'm just saying these things just to make it light for you for a while. And of course, the portal was brought in, and they said, we did send about 10, 12 inquiries to him and to them, other side, but nobody's interested in him. What can we do? We did our best, and they showed all that details, and the complaint was naturally dismissed. So what I'm trying to say is, file a complaint which is genuine and where you have a real case. I wanted to just speak only about various other things, but I asked Sucheta. I think everybody is so enlightened and they know all about it. Should I talk about the Consumer Protection Act at all? Maybe it is unnecessary. She said there might be a small number of people who might not know much about it. They know about it, but they don't know, in detail. So I'm just going to speak a little bit on the Act itself. You become a consumer for any product or service that you've utilized where there is a defect or deficiency in service. And you have paid for it, and in return, you have not got what you have asked for or what you have been promised. And that is deficiency in service or defective product. You are a consumer to file a complaint. But you're a consumer provided you file a complaint in the limitation period of 2 years. 2 years from the cause of action. That means today it happened, you have a time limit of 2 years. Within 2 years, you please knock on the doors of District Forum or State Commission or National Commission, depending on your case. So not before, unless you have a continuing grievance, which you can prove that it is, although I've been brought to my notice just now, it has been continuing. Otherwise, for all purposes, limitation is they're very strict about that, and even Supreme Court is being strict about it. So 2 years is your limitation. And these 3 tiers. One is district forum, which is within your area of jurisdiction. If you are in this area, the district forum in this area. That would be the lowest forum. And the amount that you can file, monetary jurisdiction, is up to 20 lakhs. Anything beyond 20 lakhs, you have to go to the State Commission, which is in Maharashtra, in Bombay, in Nagpur, and also in Aurangabad. And these 3 state commissions, I think there's one more bench, so they will look into any case which is above 20 lakhs and up to 1 crore. That is your monetary jurisdiction. These are the 2 different things. One is the jurisdiction where you can file a complaint. The second thing is your monetary, how much you're claiming. Accordingly, you have to go to the relevant forum. And the final one is National Commission, which will be above 1 crore, any amount. National Commission also hears appeals and revision petitions which are arising out of district forum orders which have gone into appeal and then come to National Commission. So even if you're lost in the district forum, don't lose your heart. Just somewhere somebody didn't take a decision which is in your favor, but you are very confident that I should have won this case. You can go to the State Commission. If you're unhappy there, you can still file it in the National Commission. There are times that it has been reversed in the National Commission. There are times even Supreme Court has reversed everything. So it's not like you're closed, you're open for justice forever. Now, recently when I was in Delhi, when this book was being released, Minister made a statement that he's going to increase, the Act is going to be amended slightly, and they are going to increase District Forum monetary jurisdiction to 50 lakhs and to State Commissions maybe up to 10 crores, but I think that may be rethought. They will revise it, because if it is 10 crores, then there's no need for National Commission except for few cases. So they may not do it. They're still thinking about that. And this is the jurisdiction of the courts. How do you file complaints? And you have to file the complaint with a very minimal fee. Earlier it was completely free. Now also it's as good as free. Your highest, whatever you're filing, would cost you 5,000 rupees. Everything would be 100, 500, somewhat, depending on your amount of claim. So money is really not the issue. Issue is to be able to afford a lawyer, because they're expensive, and your case may be very simple. You will be spending more for the lawyer for whatever you're asking for. So why would you really spend so much money? It is meant for you. You are all educated. I mean, even uneducated people are coming to the commission. Educated people should not even think, they should not even worry. They can just file their case and just out of, curiosity, go through how to go about it and do it. All it requires is fill up a form and say, this is what happened, like a history. This is a storyline. This is what happened, and that's the date I purchased it, and I've called for the service, they have not come. I made many phone calls, and I wrote a letter, and this is a copy of letter. Only thing is you have to keep a record of all this. It's not like you come and tell a story and we can say, okay, I believe you. You have to have evidence. So to get that evidence, you have to be very immaculate. You have to collect all that information and keep it with you. You never know when you need it. And just keep a copy of that along with your complaint if you can, and write, this is what happened, I'm claiming this from a particular manufacturer or insurance company or a builder, whatever your complaint is, whether it's a doctor, anybody. And file it with 3 or 4 copies of that in the District Forum and State Commission or National Commission. That's all you have to do. Then the commission or forum will send a notice. First they will see the complaint, whether it's genuinely a consumer complaint, whether you're a consumer or not. Because you can't have a big company and come as a consumer. You have to be a consumer yourself. Because earlier anybody used to come. Then they made sure that only consumers independently would file this complaint. Because others can go to the regular courts and pay that fee, high fee into the courts and win their cases. The only area where we have still kept any amount and anybody, any corporation to come and knock on the doors of the consumer fora is in the insurance area. Because insurance is not really to make a profit. You insure your factory. It is only indemnity of a loss. It's not the profit. It's like a fire accident, You have paid the premium, but when the fire happened and the insurance company, where do you go? And all these people cannot rush to high courts and forever, and they will be closed. The shop will be closed by the time it is decided. This is a quicker way of getting relief. So we've kept insurance as part of consumer protection, where not only individuals, but a company also can come. That means your shop or your factory, anything, because of cyclone, because of rains, fire, you can come and file a complaint for deficiency in service, and the insurance company will have to pay. So that is the only area we kept it, because it is not for profit. It is only indemnity of loss sustained because of whatever accident. This is the small picture of how consumer courts are in this country. I hope you got an idea of how simple it is really, and not at all difficult to really apply your mind, because all of you are very educated and you know what are your rights. My point is not that you all don't know or you can't know. The point is somewhere some laziness. It's okay, small case. Why should I bother? It's okay, I can afford another, whatever that is. That attitude. This is the attitude. You will normally sit around, these consumer courts don't work. Why should I go there? Do you know the number of cases that have been filed over the years across the country? More than 92% of the cases have been decided. It's a huge number of cases which have been decided, which nobody knows. And especially National Commission is removing all the old stock and finishing the old judgment, old cases, and bringing it up to date. The problem why there's so much of backlog is because it is a state subject to make sure the district forums and the state commission are working properly, and they have to pay the salaries and infrastructure for all these forums. They don't add more forums, they don't appoint members in time. They're not interested. It's like a stepchild for most of the states. Very few states are like really interested in taking care of the consumers. So you have a right to fight with your government and say you have not set up these consumer forums for us because it doesn't pay you much. That is not the way. It is order of the Supreme Court. It's a mandate. It's my right. And there's so much of backlog is only because of the state's, intention not to worry about this consumer for us. Whereas National Commission, they're paying the central government pays and they're doing very well. And they're adding more benches so that they can bring down the backlog. So when these three mantras are there, it's a cheap remedy of justice, and it's a quick remedy of justice. As I said, quick remedies because of these issues of the government's, lack of interest. And the third is justice at your doorstep. Literally, in every area, you can go to your district forum. It has really come to your doorstep. You don't have to go very, very far somewhere. So I think it's an amazing act. I'm very much in love with this Consumer Protection Act because it is really given anybody. It's not the rich or poor. All are equal. And everybody has a right and they can fight for the rights. That's the beauty of this act. There's really no difference. And wherever there is an issue that you cannot fight your case and you really cannot afford it, and National Commission, I'm sure in the lower levels also, we actually give aid. We hire a lawyer or amicus and ask them to argue for your case. Many times people can't come from some Kerala or something to Delhi in the cold days, and old people cannot travel and can't afford. They write. And we immediately collect money from all these, people who don't file their papers, in time, and we put some costs for that, and we have made a huge amount of cost of that. And from that, we actually hire lawyers, pay the lawyers, and get the case being argued. You just have to say, I can't afford it, and whatever your background. So, in whichever way you look at it, it is there to help you. It will only help you when you know how to help yourself. Now, how do you actually know that I have a case? You have a case when somebody promised you something or assured you of something or advertised of something, and in principle, and that they have not fulfilled that, whatever promise was, and that gives you a right to fight it. Earlier, it used to be just small thinking that small issues. Today, the issues are like enormous. So much, doctors are nervous about consumer courts. So nervous that they don't want to treat me only, they don't want to look at me also for the longest time. I almost thought they'll finish me off one day if they find me in the hospital. My point is, they always fight with me wherever they see. Why should this be? You're all not doctors. How do you know how to decide this case? Unfortunately, our Medical Council of India, which is supposed to be looking at these medical doctors in hospitals, they have shut their eyes. They have shut their eyes completely. It's a basket of apples, are there in front of you, one or two are rotten, it's most natural thing to pull out that rotten apples. You will not leave it there. It's like cancer. When doctors are known to be doing something unethical and fraudulent behavior, it is something that Medical Council of India should take part immediately and look after those complaints and dismiss and remove that registration of this doctor. They cannot actually, practice. What is the oath they have come with and what are they doing? They are not doing. Because they are not doing, the burden has come onto the consumer courts. And to be very honest, throughout my career in all these forums, perhaps I have written maximum number of medical negligence judgments or part of the judgment or influenced the decision maybe. Because I honestly felt, just like anybody, if they've done a wrong, it's a wrong. It doesn't matter how big they are. It doesn't matter if they're like the topmost. The other side is a consumer or a patient who suffered. The more money you have taken, the much more care has to be given, your expertise. You cannot just say, I'm a top doctor, so it won't work. You only have to know that there is injustice, that there is negligence, and what should have been done, they did not do. Very clear negligence. It's not like just somebody says it's negligence. No. It's like instead of right hand, a left hand was operated on, or a diabetic patient, they have not bothered about the diabetic levels and went ahead with surgery. For example, a patient went to a hospital for a problem in one eye. The surgery was conducted. After the surgery, within 12-13 days, he had a lot of pain. He called the doctor and said, it's a lot of pain. The doctor said, just double up the medicine. And that person said, okay, doubled up the medicine. Nothing happened. Called him back. He said, okay, you come after 3 days. He didn't give the appointment. He knew damn well this person is a diabetic patient. He should have just said, at least check your diabetic levels. He didn't mention that also. He was very casual about it. So by the time the patient went to the hospital, it's a very big hospital, one of the top hospitals in the country. And they found the fungus in the infection was so bad that it went through many rounds of hospital care, and eventually the eye had to be removed. He has gone for getting it rectified. Instead, he had to remove it at a huge cost on top of it. The best hospitals, best doctors. So post-operative treatment is something a doctor has to completely connect it to with the patient and help the patient. If only he said, check your diabetes or go to nearest doctor, at least show your eye, then he would have understood there is fungus in the eye and it can't be delayed. Or he should have said, come right now, I will see you. But he didn't do any of that. So post-op, he can't say, I did the surgery very correctly. No deficiency, no negligence on my part. And he'll walk away. Then what? Where do you go? So I wrote that judgment saying post-operative care is also a continuing service doctor should give and hold the patient's hand. And doctors were furious about it. But I'm not joking. Each of us will go through in life these incidents and these, situations where we realize that, we have to fend for ourselves. Another thing, in a place where, for insurance I'm talking about. Now, insurance, every kind of insurance comes in front of us. Especially mediclaims. My heart sinks when, insurance companies are just, most of the time, for no reason, but stupid reasons, they deny giving relief to people. Somebody had a triple bypass and went and claimed for the mediclaim for whatever that amount. They repudiated the claim. What is the reason? Reason is it's a pre-existing disease. Under the sections 4B, it is pre-existing disease, and then such a thing will not be paid. I said, how do you prove that it is pre-existing disease? They said, because it's in the record. I said, okay, show the record. Where is it that he has been taking treatment for his heart? And he was not bothered, and he knew of it when he took this insurance policy. He was fully aware that he has coronary issues and all that. And you tell that he knows of it, and that's why he concealed it from you. And he's being aware of pre-existing disease, still he concealed and took this policy. This is what the insurance claim is. As a show, they didn't have any record to show that he's taking some medicine. What did they finally show us? In the hospital record, the duty doctor, who actually, the moment this man was brought in, the duty doctor recorded what the wife normally says. You know how the wife says, "Kab se ye problem hai?" That's a usual question everybody asks. "Kab se hai?" So anxious wife always says, "No, बहुत सालों से है, that's because I walk up, I am also like, I'm having issues of breathlessness. So basically like that, she just said, बहुत सालों से है. So it's been there for a long time. If it's there for a long time, which man would not take treatment? Why would he want to die? Till it goes to triple bypass just to get insurance amount. What a foolish argument is that? I said, what this man didn't know, that he has a heart issues, and even doctor didn't know, who examined him before giving the policy. Nobody knew, but still it is pre-existing. That means everybody who's born, there are a lot of, diseases maybe genetically which we don't even know. Like somebody lives till 100, somebody lives till 70, something in the system. So am I supposed to know everything? What all I have? How is it possible? Which means the insurance company had no bona fide intent to pay. They have intent to collect your premium, but they have no intent to pay at all, or some reason or the other. So where will this couple go? This old couple, they spend so much money on those surgeries and hospital care, and the insurance company refuses to pay. Where do they go? It's a lot of money for them at that age. I mean, it's so sad to see this, for no reason. So I feel, that's how Consumer Protection Act has benefited a lot of people. Look at the seeds. I mean, I'm just going from one to another because I don't want to get stuck to one medical negligence. I want you to know how people who don't know much, they have not read all these books and they don't know anything about Consumer Protection Act in such seriousness. People who are in the villages, they are filing complaints about defective seeds because they take all that money and buy this seed for the seeds, and they're defective, and the crop should rise to a certain level, whatever, nothing is happening, so he's finished. Why are the farmers committing suicides? Because of things like this. And the seed companies are doing extremely well. I think they're the richest in the country, some of the richest companies. But perhaps they must be doing a great job, but one particular batch must be bad. So instead of accepting and making sure that whole batch is checked in and then giving some kind of relief to people, they fight it till National Commission up to Supreme Court. Chili seeds, potato seeds, like different seeds. I mean, what is that big business? It's not like a huge business. That's their, livelihood. Where do they go? And I'm not joking. When people tell me in the drawing rooms, they'll sit and, what waste, and it doesn't work. Consumer courts are like any other courts. Believe me, hundreds of people got benefited because of this seeds being defective. All they'd done is brought in the agriculture officer in that panchayat area, showed what happened to the seeds, and showed, only thing is, most of them use the entire thing. They should always keep a part of it in the packet, just in case, and send it for testing, and it shows it's a defective seed. And the panchayat, the agriculture officer comes, revenue officer comes, and they see, they take photographs, and they know that it has not come up to a level it should have come up, and then they say there's absolute loss to this farmer, and they got the thousands and thousands of rupees by the insurance company. That's because he's an enlightened consumer. The farmer is an enlightened consumer. When it hits you, then you move. People only move when it is there flat, because it's an expensive stuff. Rest of the stuff, they're not bothered. Flat, then they're bothered. It's into lakhs and whatever crores, and then they come. Housing. when I just went to National Commission, there were like thousands of cases on all urban development authorities, thousands across the country. Some are Haryana and from Bombay, many Punjab, across the country, all urban development authorities. So many cases. Why? People have paid, totally middle class, maybe even less, paid their money till 80% for whatever they have to pay through installments through the years. When it comes to almost closing it, by the time that area has come, into the city levels, in those 7, 8 years, 10 years, everything is expanding. So the prices have gone up, instead of which must have been 1 lakh. What I'm just saying, for example, it is now 1 crore or 50 lakhs plus. It's gone up. And suddenly everybody's eyes are on that. Those eyes were not on when this man started paying that small amounts and continued to pay from his salary. They take from bank loans at an interest and all, and they go through all that. So instead of giving it in 3 years, 4 years, government also, they take their own time and they give it after 10 years. But just before 80% is over, the last 10, 20, whatever percent has to be paid. So that would be the last notice, more or less, saying please pay this balance amount by so-and-so day. And then possession can be given after certain due date. It's all beautifully written, all as per contract. Why these cases were coming then is because the so-called notices which were to be sent just, after the 80% and it is about to be delivered in possession, that for the 20%, 10% balance payment, that letter, which also says if you do not pay within so-and-so time, it will be cancelled. And that letter never reaches the person. It goes into the dustbin. It will be written in all the records, it is sent. So the person did not know. They had no idea. Then suddenly saw some friend saying, oh, I'm going there, I'm getting my place. So some people going. And then they go and find out because they've given up. Ho jayega to pay karenge. Because that 20% money is also precious to me. I'll be waiting. Theek hai, jab hota hai. So at that time they wake up and they look and they find that this is what happened. They go and ask the authorities, and always headed by the IS officers at the top. I'm not saying anything against them. I'm just saying the bright people are all heading it. But the system is corrupt. Niche se sab, everybody is like down the line. And they say, okay, we'll give you your money, deduct this much, that much, just that money. Can you imagine what will he do with that money? He can't even get a servant quarter. Can't even get a parking place now, which he was getting a full flat for. Today that money has no value. So many times, the flats have gone up and the real estate has gone up. And only because the so-called urban development authorities have absolutely been insincere in doing their work correctly. They were not looking after the consumers at all. So we looked at all of them en masse and we gave decisions that you have to give the place or you have to give somewhere nearby or give return with 18% interest and something else. Different judgments came. They went to Delhi and the Supreme Court also. They were hit by that. Believe me, after that, not a true. Everybody is quickly rectifying no cases anymore from any of these urban development authorities because we said there's one case in Supreme Court which said in Lucknow Development Authority, which is a landmark judgment. This Supreme Court said these officials, instead of looking after the people, they have been erring officials. They have been part of this fraud. Such case, in all these cases, the organization, whichever organization, must conduct an inquiry, and after that, they must make these people pay whatever that has to be paid to the flat purchaser. What the Huda or anybody has to pay, that will be deducted from the person's salary. After Supreme Court said that, then we started putting that in every, quoting the judgment, and right and left we wrote those judgments. They were so scared, so nervous, because the inquiry on the officers, that won't be allowed. They cannot deal with that. So with that, I think a whole lot of changes have come in, at least in those areas. I think overall people got a little nervous that it's not going to be that simple. I'm not saying it's all rosy. There is still a lot of problems. I'm a very positive person. I will only speak positively. There are a lot of stuff which also don't work, but I will not go into that because that is minimum compared to the positive side of Consumer Protection Act. Let me tell you something which are about unfair trade practices. We all think when we see advertisements that थोड़ा इधर उधर 19-20 का थोड़ा change हो सकता है, but it is an advertisement, it must be true. We somehow believe that. So many fraudulent advertisements come and we don't realize. And very beautifully worded. I have done my advertising master, so I can see through it. And I feel bad, and that's why I'm working in this area, to fight all these things. A simple case, a couple went to, on the Star Cruise, on a 2.5 day holiday. And they were happy from Bangalore. They went and they were happy. The cruise was all good, everything was good. But they came out with this problem and point and filed a case, saying they have said in the advertisement, so-and-so date and all that, and 2 nights, 3 days. How was it 2 nights and 3 days? The first day, it left at 11:59 in the night. So that is 1 minute of the day. And half night they slept there, so 1 night. So like that. So it is not as per the plan, as per whatever they should. Big lines would write like this. And they came out with this thing, the small print, they said, we wrote the timing somewhere down. I said, this is cheating. This is actually cheating. Somebody comes home saying, I booked tickets and we are going and all to the wife. And then she says, what is 11:59? We just slept there 1 night, whatever. How can you call this, 2 nights and 3 days? Where are the 3 days? So it's an unfair trade practice. All of us used to watch Kaun Banega Crorepati. And I don't know how many people must have sent those SMSs where you get prizes and all that, prize money. And then somebody filed a complaint at a voluntary organization, and they said this is unfair trade practice, and Star has taken more money for SMS than the usual, usual SMS like say 2 rupees, they would have asked 3 rupees, whatever. And they collected a lot of money, and they sponsored part of it by the viewers with their SMS money. There was a lot of resistance from the television channel. They were not willing to give the information. Anyway, being bullied, finally they gave the information. And we found that from the SMSs, to segregate this SMS which goes to Kaun Banega Crorepati would be a certain amount. So that cost is a cost. So if you add that cost, they were making so much money, they could sponsor the whole show. And which you are not aware. You are sponsoring the show without knowing. You're thinking they're giving me money free. But actually the consumers, but it should be to your knowledge that you are paying extra money, and with that money they have collected, they're giving away the prizes, also the show is sponsored. Plus they get these advertisements and all the falana. So 50 lakhs fine was imposed on them for doing this unfair trade practice. And and the Airtel, which also was party to this, both of them. 50 lakhs each was the fine for this unfair trade practice. It took time to go through all the records and see, where is going what's happening here. Gold. All of us are enamored in investing in gold for the family. We are all aware that we are being taken for a ride. With full eyes open, we buy gold. Instead of 22 carat, it's always 8 carats or 14 carats. Nobody is giving 22. And so many people have taken everybody for a ride. But we just been taking it in our own stride. But small organization in Delhi filed a small complaint, and of course we encouraged it also, about a ring and a chain. And we said check it out, and then it was naturally less purity. And they filed a complaint. On the basis of that complaint, the commission had sent to Reserve Bank, to Banking Secretary, to Consumer Affairs Secretary, the ministers, to everybody. and said, come file affidavits why you're not doing anything about this. Across the country, where is the check? Finally, after a long period of affidavits exchange, they finally said, okay, we agreed that we have to do something. We will start giving hallmarking facility slowly in each place. It's expensive. We will slowly do that. But today I feel happy when I see a lot of advertisements coming. It's Hallmark, on their own they're doing that. And it's just awareness. Slowly people are also realizing they can't take everybody for a ride. So somewhere along the line they know you have to be a little genuine. So that's another big judgment which made everybody move in the gold industry. And another thing with that commission, I'm just talking about those judgments which are relevant to everyone, but at the same time, you should also connect in your own life. Many advertisements come saying MBA and some other course. So many advertisements come in the newspapers, and also giving ideas about getting a job. After you finish this, you'll get a job, promise of a job. Various advertisements. You have to be extremely careful, because these advertisements, what they do, on top they'll put, this particular university, it is registered university, it is connected to that, is recognized. So that particular course is recognized. Underneath they will write another course which is not recognized, but they will not say whether it is recognized or not. But somebody who's reading it, they only see on top and they think it's all recognized, because they have not written clearly that second one is not recognized. And people pay, study 3 years, 2 years, whatever, no degree. It has absolutely no meaning. That will be in the small, somewhere down there will be some small print. And how many students lose their time, years of education, hardship. How many parents must have sweated to pay that salary, out of their salary, this tuition fee. It's such an unfair thing. And these advertisements are coming every day. Every day the cases are being filed. A regular feature. You have to be extremely careful when you see these advertisements, because they're so beautifully, done. Even you believe that it is correct. You have to check everything these days. There's nobody who's going to help you out. You have to help yourself. That's why if you're a consumer, you're a prudent consumer, then nobody can make a fool of you. When a small case, government, how they just blink their eyes, this is not my work. Because everything is covered under some old act, which has to be revised, which should be removed. We're still living under that. Under law, that is there. So lawyers argue, saying under the law, we are covered, government servants. One man called Ayyappan, who lives in Kerala, in some village called Vedakakara or something like that. And he had a son in Bombay selling coconuts. He's a poor farmer working as a coolie, and this boy is selling coconuts in Bombay along with his friends on Marine Drive somewhere. And he had malaria, very high fever, and they were just sleeping on the roads. There's no way one can take care of him. So the friends somehow put him in the train. So you go to your father, take care of yourself. So he was in the train, and during the journey, it was very serious. And the people who were in the compartment requested the station master to send him to a hospital, which was just actually 1.5 hours away from his hometown, but he was about to die. So the station master sent him to the hospital. The boy unfortunately died, just a 16-year-old kid. He died. Hospital sent a telegram to father. Please collect the body. Redress. The telegram went. While wiring it, obviously the mistake was there in that spelling. The spelling was more or less the same. Instead of Vedakakara, it must have been Vedakarnara, something like that, one small letter. There were 2-3 villages side by side. So the telegram went to the telegraph office, and postman knows everybody who's in that village, they know everybody one-to-one level. And he said, "Idhar to koi hai nahi Ayyappan." He knew right away. So naturally he could not deliver it. And they didn't bother about that. Then suddenly they saw, then these boys wrote to the father, or called the father, how is he? Then the father came to know that his son actually was in a train and he must have come. Then he put it in the advertisement. He didn't know how to trace his son. And in the advertisement of the photo, missing. And then the telegraph office saw that advertisement, and then they realized, and they sent the telegram to that nearby village, next village. Telegraph office fought till National Commission for a small amount, but that was given at the state level, saying we are protected for non-delivery. I mean, I was feeling so bad, I said, which telegraph office would fight like this? They fought tooth and nail. Topmost lawyers they bring, they fought tooth and nail. My heart just, I was crying inside. I said, what is the halat of that father when he went to that place thinking that, whatever, and he finds out his son's body was thrown into the municipal grounds. In a country where everybody begs and borrows to pay for the last rites of the son, for the soul, everybody does that. For that, everybody gives money also. In such a country, for the father and mother and sisters to think that this boy was, left to such situation. If only the telegraph officer thought it's next door, it's a telegram. It's not just a, 1 rupee postcard. So I said very clearly, because we have to fight this legal issue of under the act, the sections under which they are protected. I said the hospital record shows very clearly that this address is this. The boy had the address with him. The entire address was there. He was registered as being dead according to that. So obviously that is the address that was given to the telegraph office. So while wiring, something must have gone wrong. So it is deficiency in service. So they could have just picked up the phone and checked up the nearby. That's all they could do. How can they be like this in a country where we love postmen, villages especially? I said, this is deficiency in service. I fought with my bench. Said, you have to set it right. They must learn to respect, people and their feelings. They can't be like this. They can't be protected for everything that they do. So the same thing, we just divided the whole thing and found a legal point, one little phrase, and we gave the relief to him. Such cases also come. That's what I'm trying to say is, when a person who's working as a farmer or working as a poor laborer can find some kind of relief, why not all of us? My point is, everybody need not come to consumer courts every day for everything, because we are hassled every day for 10 things. I myself feel, oh my God, I must go. I'm not saying we should be the disputing consumers in this country. It's not, that is not what I'm trying to say. All I'm saying is, at least keep your record and then write one simple letter which is registered with acknowledgement due. My request is only this. Write that letter to whoever you think you have a grievance against, whether it's a shop, whether it's an insurance company, or anybody, a car you purchased or anything you purchased, deficiency service, anything. You say, this is what actually happened, this is my rights, under my rights, I know I can go to consumer protection for us. If you don't rectify this within a month from receipt of this letter, I have no other choice but go to consumer court. You just write that. You write that, in that you write all these details. Always you write wherever, whatever you have done, clearly, because you have evidence with you. I'm not joking. Earlier years, I don't know. But today, people don't want to fight a consumer court case because it costs them a lot. And then they also know it is against them because you have all the details with you. The moment they know, they can't say jaja. They have to fight your case properly, and you can go up till National Commission. They know that they're answerable. Accountability has come. So they themselves call up, theek hai, वापस दे दो. They will return a refund or do something. A lot of small cases can be decided out of court without even coming to court. All you have to do is just this. Try that. This is what. And that you'll only do if you know your rights. You know how to go about it. Just a little thinking on that. And it is so simple. and you do that slowly, everybody starts writing and making sure that these points are put. Quality of everything will, improve in this country, because they can fight one Sucheta Dalal, maybe, fight with her. They can't fight with all of you. They have to rectify. The quality has to be rectified. So it's only a matter of time. So you're small, that little gesture, maybe you don't really care. You maybe you have the money and it doesn't matter. But people who can't file cases or who don't know about all this law and they're not smart enough, or generally also, they get the benefit of it. So in return, you are helping the country to make it better. So people will give better quality service or quality product. So this is what we have to all together aim for. It is not an individual thing that I and me and all that. It's not that. But our country itself, we all have to rise to that. And who can stop us? We are a beautiful country. We are beautiful people. But these problems are there everywhere in the world. Everywhere these malpractices are there. So it's only a matter of how, we look at it. Some case we thought may be difficult and all. Dr. Kunal Saha, who came as an NRI, filed a complaint because his wife died, and she had this skin disease, which finally she died. And a lot of treatment was given in Delhi, in Calcutta, and then also to Bombay, but mostly in Calcutta. And Supreme Court gave a verdict. It has come to National Commission, but they were not getting this kind of money. 11 crores plus. 6 crores with interest, it comes to 11 crores. That's the kind of money Supreme Court is said. So finally, 4 hours and state commissions woke up. Earlier they used to give very little money, 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh, bada mushkil se 10 lakhs. And I used to give in Delhi anything more, people used to shudder, oh God, so much and all. One young girl who was just having malaria, blood was given to her, infected blood. And poor thing, she got HIV and that kind of a thing. For lifetime, she has to be under observation and take medicines and all. For no reason, a young girl had to go through that. Then I said, this infected blood has been given, and went through the records and showed, and finally it stuck, and they went to National Commission, say to Supreme Court. I gave about 20 lakhs or something plus some interest, maybe up to 25 lakhs. But they went to Supreme Court, and I think Justice Rumapal or somebody on the bench, she just said, first you pay 5 lakhs to that patient right now for her treatment, and then we will hear the matter. So when they had to file the papers, then they realized Supreme Court can get tough and they can make it to 1 crore. So they just withdrew the complaint and paid the money. So another case where Ayurvedic person, you have to be very careful, them giving treatment, because abhi hamare village, any lane, you find a doctor, Ayurvedic doctor doing a little bit of allopathic treatment maybe. So many people are dying because of that, because they're not supposed to treat like this. Some person came and then he just gave an injection to that young boy who's 22-year-old. He gave an empty stomach, some injection, which was not supposed to be given like that, and the boy died for no reason. And then these people advertise, I can treat fits and all that. And some lady, poor thing, child was 6 months, had fits problem, and she saw this advertisement. There's an Ayurvedic doctor, went to the doctor and kept on paying money regularly and showing from one village to one place to another state. Also she went to get treatment for the child. It became bad to worse, and then they found that they checked all the medicine. She was giving a medicine called Selgon. It's not supposed to be given to the child at all. The child, they're dying. So you have to be very careful when you go to doctors, what kind of doctors they're going. Are they really fit to do? Regular doctors are only doing so much of malpractice, and imagine going to Ayurvedic and homeopath and Unani experts to do something else. Somebody's nose was bleeding, and then the boy was young, engineer, brother took him to the hospital. And at the hospital they just a nose bleeding, kya hai, choti baat hai. So they just put some cotton and gave some medicines. Admitted in the hospital, and the person died next day. How? The way they closed everything, and he choked, and blood he gulped himself and he died. Young boy, for no reason. It's a proper hospital. Then we found out who was the person who has done this treatment. He's a Unani expert. He was being paid some 2,000 rupees, some small amount. He joined. It is a doctor who has to monitor. I can't blame that small, whoever it is. The people who hired him and put him there, they should be blamed. The hospital and the doctors. I mean, bichara wo kya karega? He's been asked to do something. What the doctor said, he did that. So, these are the cases which are like, scary. And the most important thing is when you go to your hospital, make sure you take your record, copy of your record. You ask for it in writing. Within 72 hours, they have to give you. It's a law. Normally, they don't give you. They will just say, no, it's information we cannot give. Please take that, because it is not to file a complaint. You want to take a second opinion. Then you need to know that you went through this is what happened during the operation, this is the kind of anesthesia that was given to me. Whatever you needed for your own self, it's your body, your money, but they refuse to give you. And most of the time, they don't write the notes also, what all has been given. Whenever they don't give any notes and they don't do anything and something happens, we always have a principle. If the case is genuine, we've decided many cases as facts speak for themselves. It's called res ipsa loquitur. On that we give, because it's all so clear. Young boy goes for tonsillitis and comes back brain dead. Why would you come back brain dead? The hospital doesn't have any record. They don't know who's who, whatever. Somebody gave an anesthesia. The surgeon says, I've done the tonsils correctly, I've removed them, but I can't be responsible. I said, if you have not filed any papers, or medical papers or documents, then it is on you to prove that you have done something wrong, obviously, because the end result is this. So doctors have to write everything clearly as per whatever your treatment is. So you make sure you get it, because now after many judgments we gave, Medical Council of India has now finally given a directive to all the doctors that you must give within 72 hours of the request for their medical papers. So you get them. Don't ever feel shy. Don't feel shy. I'm not saying doctors are bad. I'm just saying you also give your record correctly and all your history correctly to the doctor. You can't blame the doctor fully when you don't tell them everything correctly. Make sure you give the record, whatever you have, your problems, genuinely, and give him. And whatever they're doing, make sure you give a written consent. Any surgery, you have to make sure you give a written consent. If you do not give a written consent, the doctor is in great trouble, whether he knows it or not. If anything goes wrong, that goes completely against him. So if there are any doctors, they need to know that. But you also make sure whatever the surgery that is being done, that it is being done with your knowledge. And whatever, especially women during hysterectomy and whatever, many things happen. Ovaries are removed and that is removed. And you say, I didn't know about it. You better know about it, question, and then only sign. And don't just sign just like that. Happy to be with him. I'll end it at this, and I will interact with him and answer your questions.